welcome back. Well, it is autumn and I am certainly in the baking spirit, so I thought I would share one of my favorite recipes with you, and that is for a fruit cobbler. And it is one of the easiest recipes you're ever going to make, and it's one of the yummiest cobblers you're ever going to eat. First, set your oven to 400 degrees because you want it to preheat. And then, while that's preheating, we're going to take a stick of butter and put it in the baking dish. And this is an 8x8 2-quart baking dish. And that's the first step. We're going to put it in the oven and melt it. So I put the butter in the baking dish and put it in the oven. But if you want to put it in the microwave to melt the butter, that's fine too. And you don't even have to use butter. You can use margarine. It's a very flexible recipe. So we have the 1 stick of butter or margarine, and we have it in a 2-quart baking dish, and it's melting. So while that's going on, I'm going to show you everything else you need. All you need for the batter is a cup of sugar, a cup of self-rising flour, and a cup of whole milk. And don't forget the fruit. I just happen to have blackberries. First, we're going to put in a cup of sugar. Now we are going to add 1 cup of whole milk. This is my mother's recipe, and if she gives you a recipe, you know it's going to be good because she's a very good cook. Now we're going to add 1 cup of self-rising flour. And we're going to stir this, and we're going to stir it enough that it's consistent and it's not stuck to the bottom of the bowl. It's going to have a few little lumps in it, but that's okay. You won't be doing anything wrong by baking it with a few lumps in it. Okay, we have our melted butter in our 2-quart dish, and then we have our batter of flour, sugar, and milk. And I almost feel guilty calling this a homemade recipe. It's so simple, but here we go. You just pour it in, and the butter is going to just float to the top, basically. It's going to be all around the sides and on the top. Don't be tempted to stir it. It's not meant to be stirred. You just let the butter rise, and it'll be where it wants to be. It'll make its own way, and don't stir. Now you do the same thing with the berries. Now I'm using blackberries. You can use any fruit you would like. I would say strawberries or peaches or blueberries. Only suggestion I have is if you have apples and you want to use those, then I would cook them first before I put them in this recipe, because it doesn't take long for this to cook and the apples wouldn't be cooked enough. And if you want the recipe to be a lot sweeter, then I would cook any of the berries in sugar before I put them in this recipe. But I don't like it really super sweet because I want to use it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And actually, I don't feel so indulgent if I eat it for breakfast with some coffee. So I don't want it super sweet. But just place your berries or any other fruit on the top, and they're going to sink down. But as this bakes, it's going to rise and rise around the berries. So I'm making sure I have berries everywhere, and then I'm just going to dump the rest in and let them fall where they may. Okay. Super, super, super simple. Look at this. I've got to show it to you before we put it in the oven. So, can you see? Bring it closer. Now, I'm placing mine in a 400-degree oven. If you know your oven cooks hot, a little bit hot, do it at 350. It's just that when I've done mine, when I baked this at 350, it seemed like it took forever to bake. So I bumped it up to 400 degrees, but judge it by your oven. Here we go, right out of the oven. Isn't that lovely? It's nice golden brown. See how the batter rose? And look at the blackberries. And I just realized that this really is a family recipe because my brother gave me the blackberries. He grows a lot of his own organic fruits and vegetables and shares them with me. So I'm lucky in that way. So let's see what it looks like when we get a spoonful of this. This is over here. And you can see how that batter, that simple batter, rose up and turned nice golden brown. And look at the blackberries in there. And they were just raw blackberries, not cooked before I put them in. But like I said, if you use maybe an apple, maybe, I would say maybe even peaches, if they are fresh peaches, but especially apples, I would cook those beforehand and put them in, and then you're sure that they're going to be nice and cooked, and that is the most lovely dessert that you're going to try in a long time. And I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy this cobbler. And if you did like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, please tap that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner and follow me on Instagram. Bye.